Hello, class. This week is your module 2. The materials focus on the process of writing, starting from brainstorming and free writing to drafting, revising, and giving a finishing touch to the work. This is called the writing process, and I am aware that it's not something totally new to you. You must have learned about it and practiced it before, but we need to make sure that we make it a habit whenever we sit down to write for academic purposes. So please go over the materials and reinforce this idea of the writing process. Also, I would like to advise you that you save this video and the materials because they're going to stay here anyway, and then go back to this again whenever you sit down to write your assignments for the rest of the semester so that you get reminded of the writing process. And I know a lot of students skip this, but this is very helpful, and I would say this is inevitable. It helps you planning, organizing, and being in time in submitting your assignments. Yeah, and it is very important to submit assignments in time within the deadlines. Last week was our first week because our semester started somewhere midweek on Thursday. I posted the plagiarism handout in PowerPoint, and then you had your course expectations. And that was all. Both assignments were not for a grade, so no worries about how you score them. To know your course expectations is very important to me because that's how I would know about your needs. And this course is very much need based. Your quiz on plagiarism, which is quiz 1, is due by today. So please go over the materials and refresh your memory and attempt the quiz before the deadline. I'm starting the semester with this plagiarism because it is one of the most prevalent issues in academic writing. Plagiarism has always been there. Plagiarism is as old as theft or dishonesty is. And plagiarism is just like theft. And we know the consequences of theft. Human civilization has always penalized theft with the dire consequences. If you borrow ideas or sentences from someone else and you do not acknowledge them properly, it becomes the case of plagiarism. It is called plagiarism. And I know with the internet and computer technology, all academic and creative works and other materials are easily available in the internet within a click. It is natural to be tempted to steal them and claim them to be your own, but there are consequences. And the consequences are dangerous, very much counterproductive. So, I want to make sure that we do not practice plagiarism in this course and make it our academic ritual. That's why I'm starting the semester with the awareness of plagiarism. So please attempt the quiz in time. The questions are easy, and as long as you have read the handout and the materials, uh, you will be able to score full. I hope by now you've gone over the syllabus thoroughly. Do you have any questions about the policy, course contents, and assignments? Please feel free to message me. This is a need-based course, as I have already said above. So my first priority is to learn as much as possible about what you need and orient the course in that direction. I want you to have a pleasant and productive experience of the semester. So this course will help you to understand about yourself as a writer so you can be successful in the academic writing. In the graduate level, you read most advanced academic research materials in a particular branch of knowledge and produce your analysis or creative work to add to your knowledge. As the course description reads, this course is designed to provide intensive writing experience ranging from invention to drafting, revising, editing, and publishing or submitting the work. Building on knowledge about the reading and writing process gained from previous composition courses, you will develop the skills of the writing process. Okay, this is all about writing process. Very important. So please read the syllabus thoroughly, including the policy and mode of class, and also understand that this is an asynchronous class, which means we do not meet on a regular basis. However, if you all agree, I would be excited to have a Zoom meeting with you all. I can message you time and again to schedule a Zoom meeting, which is not mandatory, but even if you wish to, and if we can meet on a particular time and particular day, we can do so. Also read the assignments. There is an overview of assignments in the syllabus. You will have a substantial amount of project to complete during the semester. So we start with the process of writing. Basically, starting with the topics with outline. We'll write annotated bibliography. You will read sources from the library and the internet and elsewhere, and then you will compose your annotated bibliography, which we will share among us in class. And then based on that, you will draw your proposal. And then based on a proposal, after we discuss the topics and then I approve, you will start your drafting stage. So drafting and revising and editing and formatting and all those we will do. And I will give you credit for each of them. We'll write one thing at a time, and then I evaluate you, and then I will give you the credit on that, and then you will proceed for the next step, and then so forth. So your topics and outline will have 5%, 5 points. Annotated bibliography will be 10%. Proposal will be 10%. And then we'll write several drafts, which will be 5 points. And then you will revise the same drafts again and then submit them as your final submission. Which will be 20%. I will separately, give you 10% for formatting and guidelines, and we will also read student papers for analysis. I plan to have at least 3 to 4 papers for you to learn, what is good and what works and what does not work. And it will have 15%. And there'll be skill areas we will learn. We'll have to learn certain skills, and those skills areas will be evaluated by quizzes, which could be announced, which may not necessarily be announced, but you will have enough time within the week to attempt the quiz. Not more than one quiz in 1 week. So when you scroll down at the bottom, you have the tentative schedule, which will give you an overview of the semester, each module, and then the dates, and then the contents will cover, and the assignments that will be due, that are due here. This week you have your quiz 1 due. Next week, I'm going to post a student paper which we will analyze, and then we'll write by the end of the week an analysis of the paper. So the contents are here, and so please go over them so you will have an idea. This is tentative schedule. Remember that things may change depending on your needs and depending on how much we are able to cover. So it depends on your speed of reading and being able to do things, and then the contents here that I post to you. So they may change to in your favor, which should help you. This week, I want you to reinforce your knowledge on the stages of writing. You will follow the stage of writing in composing your assignments throughout the semester. So you would understand how your assignments will evolve pretty much from the scratch and then develop into full-fledged papers. You will learn how researching and writing are two separate things, but they are highly integrated and both need skills, both need processes, and their processes may sound similar but are intrinsically different. We will learn about them by doing. Learning by doing is the best policy, I think, and you can call it action learning. So we will write the papers and we'll learn how you become a researcher and then you become a writer. You have a dual role to perform. You will also read the links here posted, on your modules for genres to see where our academic genre is. I have posted here the master's research guidelines, which I believe you're already familiar with. Please go over the materials and let me know if you have any questions. In the meantime, I will briefly talk about them. You can find plenty of videos on YouTube, but always go for the authentic ones. Usually those created by the writing centers of academic institutions are authentic and credible. So the writing process refers to how you compose your written work, such as stories, essays, papers, etc. Different people have their different styles, but what has now come to be generally agreed is that a piece of writing should not be completed and submitted without its being gone over again and as many times as possible. So this is what is writing process. And depending on the deadline of submission, the quality of writing can be improved substantially if the work goes through several steps of the process in writing. We usually talk about mainly three steps that are pre-writing, writing, and revising. The pre-writing stage is like a preparation to the writing stage, which may include activities such as brainstorming, outlining, free writing, note taking, etc. Once we have a clear map in our mind as to what we are going to write about and how we are going to plan its contents, we can speed up in our work, giving it a quality. So I've listed here in the pre-writing activities: brainstorming, outlining, clustering, free writing. Free writing is very interesting and very important. Now, if you apply the brainstorming activity, you can do it in different ways. For example, you could have a small piece of paper where you can write down your notes, and then you can just look at them, and you see, how you can sort them, and how you can just, organize them based on idea, right? When ideas come to your mind, you just jot them down as soon as possible because ideas are faster than our writing. So you need to get them as soon as they are so that they would not disappear. So it's a visual activity which will help you. And if you want to use colors, you can use colors, multicolored notes, and put them together and see them from a distance so that you'd be able to sort them out in a much better way. Then outlining is another pre-writing activity which is very, very useful depending on your style, certain people are very fond of this. You could draw a semantic map of your paper where you would outline only using only terms or words, right, and saying how you would begin and what materials you would have in your introduction, what materials you want in your body, and then how you would want to conclude. So you can look at your whole paper from a distance as a whole, right? And clustering is another pre-writing activity which is also very popular, where you could sort out the ideas. I mean, here we have an example of how you could sort out strawberries from plums. So accordingly, ideas also you could just sort out the same way, and categorize them, right, as A, B, C, groups of ideas, and then you could design, or you could just structure your paragraphs accordingly, because each paragraph has to have one idea which will transition into a next idea, and then the second paragraph transitions into a third paragraph, and each transition is a development, and each paragraph after another is a development. You go deeper and deeper, more and more introspective, and explaining more, and then describing more, and then exemplifying more, categorizing more accordingly, in order to come up with the conclusion for your research. Among these pre-writing activities, free writing, pre-writing and free writing rhyme so well, is an interesting activity, very interesting activity. It's an activity introduced by Peter Elbow. The idea is simply to write for 10 minutes. And, don't stop for anything. Go quickly without rushing. Never stop. And never stop to look back, to cross something out, or to wonder how to spell something, to wonder what word or thought to use, or to think about what you are writing. It's a pre-writing activity in the writing process. Writers may encounter a writer's block at any time of their writing, and it means that they feel stuck and cannot move forward. So that's when people do this pre-writing activity, a very useful activity, a 10-minute activity, or you could just time yourself up, and then you just write random, write, never stop it. And then at the end, when you're all done, you can see what you've done, what you've written, and then you can go back and then you can sort out, that is useful to you, and leave the ones, or cross out that is not useful to you, right? You will have abundant amount of materials there when you're stuck and you're not able to move forward. So this was introduced by Peter Elbow, a great activity. Now, after these pre-writing activities, we can move to the next stage, which is drafting or writing. So read the prompt very carefully. Write sentences from your outline. Now you already outlined. Create a thesis statement with your main idea. And if it is a research paper, you could also say that come up with a research question. And now develop your ideas into paragraphs that are to be drawn from the research question or the thesis statement or the main idea. Read and reflect on what you have written, and then reorganize the paragraphs according to ideas. Sort out ideas that need to be in particular groups and need to go to a particular paragraphs, and then write until all your paragraphs are fully developed. So you don't have to write right now and then finish it right now. You can take time. So you can take time, get a break, and then come back and then continue writing where you left off. And then when you're all done, your final thing will be to write a clear and a strong conclusion. And a very important thing is that the conclusion and the introduction may be similar, except in their tone and in their purpose. So, in your introduction, you would say what you are going to write about, and in conclusion, you would say what you have achieved, what you have written. Now, next step is revising. And revising a step, you are revising for ideas. So, I'm asking you to read the prompt again because we may go farther away. We may get lost somewhere, or we may digress from the prompt. So, we have to get back to the prompt again and again so that we respond to what we are being asked. So, read the prompt again and read your essay that you just wrote and make sure it follows the prompt. Read the essay for consistency of ideas. See how paragraphs flow into each other and how paragraphs develop. First paragraph develops into second into third, and so forth. Make sure each paragraph is tied to the thesis or the main idea. And make sure ideas develop but not repeat is one of the problems in writing. Repetition. The ideas repeat and repeat in a parallel way. They don't develop, they repeat. So avoid that. And shuffle the paragraphs if necessary. So you may have to move the paragraphs up and down depending on where they belong and where they look good. And make sure paragraphs maintain coherence of structure, thought, ideas, development, and consistency. Your next step would be editing or proofreading. So proofread for grammar and punctuation. Make sure grammar and punctuation is accurate. And you have Grammarly.com and most of the stuff, your Word, Microsoft Word already has installed in it. So it does it anyway, highlights wrong areas. Read carefully for diction and uses. This is something you have to do manually yourself using intelligence and common sense. Make sure you do not have issues in mechanics as well, right? These are also things that stand out, automatically because of the technology. And make sure you follow the guidelines and format. So read it over and over again to make sure that you are following the guidelines. Now comes the final stage. The final stage, submitting or publishing a work or printing a work, whichever way you are submitting. So now it all depends on how you organize your time and how you do things in time. So make sure you submit a work ahead of time because the last minute could be dangerous. Last minute could be risky. Could be technical problem, could have other issues. Read your work once again before you submit, and you would not believe that a couple things very important might be missing there, and you might be able to see them at the last minute. If there are issues, address them patiently. Very important is that you do not become nervous. Make sure you meet the guidelines and format. Again, format and guidelines. Go back to the prompt and then see whether or not your format and guidelines are met. And you submit your work. I hope this video is useful to you. You will need this information when you begin to write and when you are writing and when you are finishing your writing until the end of the semester. We will follow the writing process and the researching process, both of them, because you are a writer and you are a researcher, both at the same time. Hey, thanks a lot for your time, and we will keep in touch in the next video.